Welcome to Regulating AI podcast. We are joined by Mr. Boris Tadić. He was the president of Serbia from 2004 to 2012. He brings a tremendous background in psychology and also has led his country during a very critical time of transition. We are here to talk about artificial intelligence, governance, and many other things. We are at the International Spring Forum hosted by the Club de Madrid. And welcome to the Regulating AI podcast, Boris.
Thank you.
Mr. President, you have seen some incredible transformations, but your background in psychology and governance, what synergies do you find in artificial intelligence with that background? Can you just let our viewers, and we have viewers around the world, United States, Europe, Asia, etc. A lot of them are policymakers, so please let them know a little bit about that.
We are living on the crossroad in many, many aspects, but one of the most important crossroad we are living in is a technological crossroad. Many people are talking about new world orders and something like that, but I think is an even more important technological crossroad because this is a very fast process. The process, I'm not sure that we can adapt ourselves to this process enough, and it's a very specific process, attacking on human brain, our habits, and especially on the older generation. I'm not sure that my generation is going to able even to understand what's going on. And we can be witness very, very specific moments in the history of human beings, and I'm pretty sure that this kind of synergy has to be in the focus in next few months, not few years. That's going to be too late. Right now, I'm coming to from the panel when my friend Dean from the Kremlin University has been mentioning neuro networks, which is very important, and this which is in fact foundation of the artificial intelligence. We can see synergy from the different sciences, different human activities, and that synergy is going to be mentioned as a artificial intelligence, but I think that foundation of everything is a kind of neuroscience, neurons, and relations between neurons and how we are going to function as an aspect of that neurological functioning.
So you made a couple of very important points, Mr. President. You talked about the rapid change that is coming in. A lot of the companies that are, the leaders in artificial intelligence, they are focused on what they call, artificial general intelligence, where the artificial intelligence becomes as smart, if not more, than the human beings. That's a major change which will have profound implications, which you kind of talked about. Now, you have lived through some major changes. What do you think needs to happen? And you kind of touched on this from a leadership standpoint around the world to prepare for these kinds of changes. There will be changes in employment. There will be changes in national security and health and others. What would be your advice to other leaders? And you just had that panel. How do they deal with that change?
Good news that Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of United Nations, was initiated a kind of the process in which we have to define the rules about artificial intelligence. Without defining rules on how we can use artificial intelligence in the modern world, we can be in a very difficult situation.
Right.
But artificial intelligence is more or less a machine learning. But I'm always insisting about what is foundation of machine learning. This is a neuro aspect, and maybe the researches in kind of neuroscience are going to be even more important in the future, having huge and even bigger impact on artificial intelligence and all other aspects of our functioning in a global arena nowadays. And this is why I'm suggesting to my colleagues to be very careful and to understand we are living in the world which is on the crossroad. That means the future world is going to be more probably very, very different from the world nowadays in all aspects, in terms of economy, in terms of education, in terms of profitable businesses, in terms of democracy, in terms of governing, in terms of understanding of our common values. I have concerns that maybe even our common values are going to be redefined in accordance with the technological improvement. If we are politicians, if we are political leaders, we have to be aware about this. But I don't see many political leaders that are aware about this. Many people are mentioning artificial intelligence, but I'm not sure they understand huge impact of artificial intelligence. And finally, maybe we're living in terms of governing in a very different era in which the classical politicians and the Democrats are going to disappear from politics. And maybe people from new technologies, new technology companies are going to come to the power because they have instruments in their hands. They have significant tools that can change whole landscape in politics nowadays.
Wow. You made some very, very important and interesting points. Let me just take the last one that you said. You said that maybe the class of leaderships or the type of global leadership is probably going to be changing from maybe a political to more a technological leadership. In your view, is that good, bad? Because there are concerns, at least in some parts of the world, especially I can tell you in the US and others, where you see some of the social media or technology companies have now got a lot of power in what you see, what you learn, what you do. That's a bit challenging from that perspective because they're dominating those kinds of things. Artificial intelligence is even a step more. What should governments do to make sure there is some kind of balance here, Mr. President?
I'm not sure right now what we can do. I'm not sure what we can do because we have to see in the very recent period of time what is going to be final outcome of that very fast development. And to react in a proper time, in a proper way, as soon as possible. But to be very frank with you, I'm thinking what we can do and what we have to do. Maybe a few months ago, I was thinking that we have to do this. But right now, in accordance with the new researches, I think that we have to do something very different. And we have to analyze situation and to predict what is going to be. Without imagination, we are not going to be able to predict. Without kind of specific skills in creating new architecture, we are not going to be able to react in a proper way. And this is why I think that we have to have a more forum that are going to bring together people from technological companies, from science and politics to think what we have to do and how to react right now. A few months ago, I had a meeting with a vice president of Interpol coming from Nigeria. And he mentioned to me that most talented people in organized crime worldwide are right now coming from the poorest African countries because they are recruiting by organized crime. They are very good in cyber crime and they are very efficient. And okay, they are coming from the poor countries. They are looking for a chance for better life. And organized crime, which is, I mean, not stupid, but smart, is recruiting most talented people. And they're coming from the countries, I mean, we don't have an even idea that people from Africa are going to be a leading person in organized crime. But right now we are facing with such a problem because Africa wasn't in the focus of global arena for many, many years. But right now we have a new challenges. We have to think about that. We have to help Africa right now. The poor countries and the countries that are undeveloped or countries that were humiliated by many, many years because of trauma, which is destroying almost whole societies. And to think about future of the mankind, we have to take even this into the consideration. What we have to do. We have to do a lot of things, but we are on the crossroads here, really, and we have to be able, even more than ever, to imagine a world in which we are going to live in next 2, 3, 5, 10 years.
So what you're saying is change is happening, and it's happening at a much, much faster pace. Mr. President, during your time in your country, you were able to successfully have good relations or have relationships with the United States, the EU, China, Russia, etc. Artificial intelligence has become more like a sovereign, it's become a national security or sovereign issue. It's like that. Any suggestions as to, given your incredible experience in balancing, how does one balance it? Because it's become, either you're with us or you're with different camps, etc. Any thoughts on that?
Serbia is in very specific geostrategical position.
Mm-hmm.
And having a very complex history. We are always saying we are able to produce more history than we can consume. And in that respect, Serbia can be always factor of instability. But I wanted to see Serbia as a factor of stability, system integrator. On the Balkans and in a regional aspect. We are not big country, but sometimes even very little countries are having huge impact on the history. I mean, Serbia has an impact on the history, the beginning of First World War. This is something that has to be taken into consideration seriously, not only about Serbia, but also about other countries. We are facing with the many, many conflicts. But right now, I'm coming back to my country and how we were dealing such a complex foreign policy issue. I consider European Union membership as a main strategic goal, which was inevitable from my point of view. In that moment, 2004, 2012, European Union was a kind of dream, one of the best options. It was. So still, but in a very different context right now. European Union is not that strong like it was, not that stable like it was, not that independent like it was right now, having in mind the conflict, Russia and Ukraine. European Union is going more towards United States. And but in that context, European Union is losing the position of interlocutor and to be mediator. And this is problem. Second, if we are analyzing global situation, we need more countries able to be interlocutors. Right now, this is surprise. It's maybe China, only interlocutor in the global arena. No one was counting on China only 10 years ago to be interlocutor. Remember what China has been doing in terms of relations between Saudi Arabia and Iran. But we need more interlocutors. Serbia wanted to be kind of interlocutor, but on the lower level, regional level. Sorry, but I'm reminding myself when Yugoslavia was a founder of non-aligned movement, which was very important during the Cold War era. But what I see, we need more interlocutors. The countries that are going to be mediator interlocutors to explain a real intention of some other countries and to be in the middle of the conflict and to work together on finding solution in terms of sustainable peace, reconciliation process, better understanding, communication. This is why my policy towards main strategic goal, European Union, but at the same time, very good and strategic context of our relations with the United States, Russia, and China was very useful. I think I see the current president of Serbia is trying to follow that agenda right now in a different context. But I think that such a policy can be very important. Still, I truly believe that my country has to become member state of European Union, even though European Union is not looking like that regional grouping 10 years ago. 15 years, 20 years ago, but we don't have a better option. But at the same time, we have to be careful and to take into consideration our role, even in European Union, on the regional context, and to be careful in terms of solving global conflicts, because we have a huge, extremely painful experience being in the conflicts many years.
You also were very active in terms of education for the youth. When you look at the world just globally, artificial intelligence is a complete change in many ways. What would you recommend to your colleagues, your other leaders? How should they prepare their emerging population for this new technology that is coming? You were successful in doing that. So, President, what would you say to them?
First of all, I see a lot of opportunities in terms of implementing artificial intelligence in the context of developing education for individuals and for the nations, for the countries that are facing with the problem for less educated people. At the same time, I see kind of threats. For example, the last researches are telling us that uncontrolled exposure to the digital content, very young people can even destroy their brain, parts of their brain. I mean, I'm talking about very young people. And every country, every government has to take this into the consideration. Right now, we are living in a very unmatured atmosphere in which many people, and especially politicians, are thinking, okay, we have artificial intelligence, we are living in a digital era, we can find solutions for better and very fast developing, better living standard, but at the same time, we can make many destructions on that way. One of them is new content of the TV, movie industry, that can be very dangerous regarding very young population. In that context, artificial intelligence can be used in a proper way and totally improper way. And this is my first suggestion. At the same time, we have to improve educational systems. I used to be professor in the high school also many years ago. And I'm thinking about that. I mean, if we have a process of learning in which we have to memorize the content, I'm not sure this is the best possible option. We have to trigger kind of brain activities that are going to bring individuals to the position to create good decisions and to understand substance of the processes. This is very important. We have to be focused in education on that, not on memorizing more, even though memorizing is also very important, but we have machine that can help us somehow. We have to memorize very important facts, but not everything. And I see on the universities elsewhere, still professors are insisting on memorizing the content, but not on the process of creating good decisions and process of understanding the substance of the phenomena. And this is my main suggestions. I see very good development in different countries. I see India making fantastic progress. I see some universities in China making fantastic progress. And also I see Finland, which was a champion in education for many years. No one was expecting Finland is going to be that country. But this is very important because even the countries that were not on the top in terms of education can come very fast in that position. And this is, I mean, I'm talking about the period of the history of mankind that we are on the crossroad, but something is very positive. We can make fantastic jumps in our history and to create better development very fast. But this is also a high-risky situation that has to be taken into consideration seriously.
So obviously, lots of opportunities, but challenges in terms of, I mean, you mentioned young people, etc. One of the things that has happened, and we just had an election in the US, and there have been so many other elections, is what artificial intelligence can do is you've seen the uh, fake news and fake videos and things of that nature, the speed and the quality of that information that can come out. All you need is a laptop doing that. The worry is, is that going to impact on democracy around the world, especially given what AI can do. It can replicate your conversations, making you say things that you never have said, etc. uh, there have been a lot of discussion in terms of what can we do, whether it's watermarking or other technologies. When you talk to other leaders of democracies, etc., is that a concern, or what are your thoughts on the use of artificial intelligence and technologies as far as elections and democracies are concerned?
Still, not many politicians and political leaders are fully understanding all the impact
Okay.
of artificial intelligence on the
Mm-hmm.
future of the mankind, and especially on the future of democracy. Uh, we are talking about different aspects of technological improvement. We are talking about artificial intelligence, neuroscience, internet
Mm-hmm.
of things, metaverse,
Mm-hmm.
and something like that. And we are talking about the new technological companies. Mostly, majority of them are in United States.
Mm-hmm.
And because I'm traveling a lot, I'm talking with the people in different countries, different continents, different big powers.
Mm-hmm.
I see kind of concern,
Mm-hmm.
and I see the trends.
Mm-hmm.
And every single country which has capacity to be more independent, not only big powers, but regional powers, and also some smaller countries are right now thinking whether they are going to build their own browsers, their own companies, their own internet. I see the challenge how we are going to be interconnected in the future, because the main advantage internet is bringing in our lives is that by using one click, we can be connected with the knowledge and experience, global experience,
That's
which
true.
is fantastic. But at the same time, this is the shortest way and the easiest way how someone can make influence on our way of thinking and our process thinking, which is very dangerous. And taking into consideration last researches in neuroscience, we can see that impact of digital world on our process of creating decisions, even during the election process, can be extremely aggressive and very dangerous. And I'm not sure that we are going to witness democracy in the classical form in next few years. But we have to think, I mean, my philosophy is, if we cannot defend ourselves from the power which is coming, which is inevitable, let's accommodate ourselves to the new era, and let's integrate some kind of guarantee insurance within democratic architecture that can preserve the problems that are coming in the future. Because, I mean, the influence in the technology is not only in the power of the good people.
Right.
Influence can be in the hands of the very dangerous people. We've been witnessing many times in the history of mankind that that dangerous people took a power in their hands. Sometimes even mad people. But we have to have a more guarantee insurance in the world nowadays, because we are living in extremely difficult, interesting, and fast period of the human history. And that means we have to be very careful and to think fastly but efficiently, and to be focused. And we have to be able to understand what's going on and to mobilize people from the companies, from business arena, from the science, politics, and to find the solution for the new challenges we are facing with.
So obviously we have to move fast. We have to be very careful. We have to think very carefully, because things are moving very, very fast. Those are very, very good suggestions. Mr. President, finally, for our audience, which is global, would just some final words or thoughts or advice that you have for our listeners who focus a lot on artificial intelligence, its governance, its policies, especially with your background?
Well, I'm coming from the family of the scientists,
Mm-hmm.
and they learned me that human beings are always able to be adaptable,
Mm-hmm.
to accommodate themselves for the
Mm-hmm.
new situation. I hope this is true. I
Mm-hmm.
hope this is true, but I'm not sure they had in their mind such a process, which is incredible, which is really incredible. Maybe I'm fascinated with this process even more. That is necessarily,
Mm-hmm.
but my school of thought is telling me that we have to be very fast and very much concerned about further development. My suggestion is to think about the things we are facing with, to have a critical opinion. Critical opinion is very important always, but mobilization and the fast reaction is right now even more important. But this is always very problematic. How to react in a fast enough and in a proper way when we don't have enough time to think about changes that are going to happen in the future. This is main challenge nowadays.
Well, react fast, but react carefully. I think that's the message that you're giving to our listeners. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for being on the Regulating AI podcast. Your background in psychology, governance, especially during some very challenging times, gives a great perspective to what is truly a transformative technology. It's changing how we live, how we work, and it is going to do so more. So we thank you for being on the podcast, and thank you to our listeners. Really been a pleasure to have you, sir.
Thank you very much for opportunity to talk with you, Sanjay, and with the people that are following your podcast.